Okay, so with things happening right now in Belfast, things happening in the 70s in Belfast, and what this movie Kneecap was trying to say, it felt like it feels like I thought America had a lot of political violence. Chase Liaki here with the Blue Futon reviewing Kneecap. So what's this about? Pretty simple premise. We are following this group called Kneecap that I think they were created in 2017, and we are talking about how they came to fruition with everything happening with, them hating the British, and British wanting to get rid of the Irish language, and how they wanted to say that every 40 minutes there's an indigenous language that disappears, which I really have a hard time believing that, honestly. Like, I truly do with that stat. I could be wrong, but you're going to really have to show me some real statistical evidence that every 40 minutes a language disappears. All right, anyway, so this movie is about debauchery. This is about drugs. This is about sex. This is about hip-hop, and it's a fine movie. There are just some glaring flaws in this movie for me where you're trying to tell a story, right? I'm going to tell it up straight up. This might piss a lot of people off, but it's okay. Okay, ready? So this whole movie starts off with being Belfast. The violence that happened between the Irish and the Brits, right? It's been going on for decades now. Okay, so this is all about that. But you're showing Palestine flags. It is like me telling a story about, and I don't know. What's another conflict? Oh, yeah, let's talk about this, right? Japan and U.S. in World War II, right? And all of a sudden, someone shows, like, the Mexican flag. And you're just like, what does Mexico have to do with, America and Japan, Pearl Harbor? Yes, you could see, like, oh, Israel and Palestine. No, first off, because if you want to talk about Belfast in the 50s, 60s, 70s, Palestine wasn't a big deal. And now, even in 2017, Palestine still wasn't a big deal then. You're just putting it in there for fucking clout. And I really hate that shit. You know what? What does Palestine really have to do with fucking Ireland? Scotland? Fucking the UK? Nothing. Yes, because of migration. This is what bothers me, because Israel is nowhere near that country, and you're just putting this in this country. Yes, the whole point of this movie is to show the Irish flag, right? But then you randomly show fucking apartment buildings with Palestine flags, and it has nothing to do with the story. Nothing to do with the story. So that is my rant for the stupidness of that shit. I also find it, I find it egregious that's in America right now as well, where you take down the American flag and put the Palestine flag. First off, go fuck yourself. You're not in America. You are in America. So you gotta appreciate that. I'm not gonna go to China. I'm not gonna go to I'm not gonna go to Mexico. I'm not gonna go to Portugal. I'm not gonna go to South Korea. I'm not gonna go to Morocco. I'm not gonna go to fucking Niger. I'm not gonna go to any country, Azerbaijan, and then take down their flag and put the American flag up. I'm just not gonna do it, because that is disrespectful. The only time another nation's country should be in another country is for the Olympics, and that's because you're cheering off your country. I just find it egregious that it's not right. It's not right. Japan shouldn't have, like, take down the Chinese flag and put up their flag, and vice versa. Same thing was, Vietnam and South Korea, vice versa. And so that's my rant for this. Because you're like, what does that have to do with the movie? It does, because his director puts it in the fucking movie. So that is the only reason why I'm talking about it. So, about this movie, there's so much drugs in it that I don't know shit about. Okay, I know about prescription drugs because, pharmacy technician. But when it comes to, like, oh, I accidentally snorted ketamine instead of cocaine, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I have no fucking clue what that means. So that is a huge issue with this movie, is if you're not from that region, if you are not into the drug culture, you're not going to understand, like, oh, if I'm on this drugs, I see people as tape recorders. Or if I'm on this drugs, I'm turned into clay figures. Or if I'm on this drug, people wear these weird fucking color shit. It doesn't affect me because I don't know what you're talking about. So I understand that. For a biopic, I'm going to say 10% this is real, honestly. I'm going to say about 10% this is real. But is this movie boring? That's the question. And the answer is no. There's nothing boring about this film. It's interesting, the Irish tongue in hip-hop. I think it works. I'm not a hip-hop person in general. I'm way more into, hard rock, metal. Yes, I could put on some DMX and enjoy the living shit out of some DMX. Or some old school Ludacris, because I still have those CDs back here. I really do. So yes, I'm not saying that, so if there's hip-hop, yeah, I'll listen to it here and there. But it is not what I put on the radio, 95% of the time. So the acting, I would say, is pretty good. The same three characters that are in the Kneecap crew play themselves. You have Michael Fassbender in it that's playing one of the characters' dads. That is kind of in hiding and is really, I would say, anti-drug. Then you have a cop who also just hates. She's a British cop and doesn't like the Irish language. And I do wish they talk more about that. You know what I mean? Where, the whole movie is about, the Brits wanting to get rid of the Irish language. And it's kind of a background of, this one girl really wants to prove her point, politically saying, we're here. We need to show ourselves. But then you have this Kneecap crew, doing the whole sex, drugs, and hip-hop and being, debauchery. And it's you know what? Yeah, I understand that point. But why do the Brits really want to take the language away? They really didn't dig deep into it. Yes, it's surface level. There's some news reports that talk about it, etc., etc. But I want to go deep. Yes, they don't want to talk about the deep Belfast and everything like that, which, me personally, I don't know shit about that. So is that my fault? Sure, for not going to this movie to really know the political violence of that. Yeah, I know. I've seen Insane Considers. Yes, I've seen the movie Belfast, etc., etc. But there is that as well. Like I said, it is never boring. It's shot really well. The interestingness factor of this movie is top tier of, where we're going and what the interesting aspects of it. Is it kind of surface level, though? Absolutely, because you just know that these three Irishmen are rapping, and they rap about, douchebaggery, sex, drugs, and you get this, and then they become famous. That's really the basic story. They really try to talk about the backing of these radical Republicans against drugs, which I need to see if they're real or not. So let's check real quick. So they are real. So they're Republican they're rad. They're Republicans Action Against Drugs. So it was an Irish vigilante group in Northern Ireland. They were merging with the real Irish Republican Army in 2012. So group methods include shooting alleged dealers in arms and legs, pipe bombs. So they are real, but not in this movie. So this movie, they made up a new group. So here's a timeline. Let's see what the latest timeline is. 2014. So, okay, there was a group that was real in 2010 or 2008, but not the time the kneecaps were being made. So, yeah, they were fake. I mean, they're real, but also fake at the same time. So overall, Kneecap, yes, I might have a little bit of a rant talking about this movie. However, it's still worth watching. It's fun. It's hip. It's kind of a blast. You're never bored with it. However, when it talks about how real it is, you got to really take it off and just not, because a lot of it isn't real. And a lot of it's surface level at the same time. So Kneecap will receive a 3.5 out of 5 Futons, which equals at 70%. And FYI, this has nothing to do with Palestine. Nothing. So take it out. Seriously. Even though, like I said, comparing it to what's happening today, and I think in Belfast right now, you have the Irish going against the Antifa Palestine people. So that's what I'm also talking about, is when right now you have the Irishmen fighting against the Palestinian people in Belfast, which I don't know why they're even there. First off, okay, yeah, you're there, but you're in Ireland, learn Irish, be part of their culture. That's the nicest thing to do. That's the things people need to do. If I go to freaking South Korea, I'm going to do the best I can to speak Korean and to assimilate with their culture. It's only the right thing to fucking do. And it feels like, you have Dearborn or Belfort, Michigan and everything like that. Anyway. So that's what I'm trying to get at also. If this movie is showing the Palestine flag, But right now in today's day and age is Irish versus the Palestinian / Antifa. What message are you actually trying to fucking say? Alright, critics and user scores. Let's talk about it. So it looks like critics a 96% with 75 of them. Audience score 100 with fewer than 50. Critic consensus, a rebellious anthem for cultural preservation. Kneecap is as shaggy, rambunctious, and lovable as the eponymous hip-hop group at the center. I suck at, pronunciation. And that's the thing, right? This talks about cultural preservation. So if you have cultures from the Middle East going to Europe and not doing cultural preservation, what message are you trying to say? Like, seriously, if you're in Ireland and you're showing the Palestinian flag in this movie, and the whole point of this movie is for the Irish people to cultural preservation, but now you have them fighting each other because there isn't cultural preservation happening. You can't have these fucking double standards. Seriously. 9,670 Chase like here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more thing's Futon Topia, Blue Futon. You think watch a great down, watch the state tomorrow, week from a month, or a year from now, every single freaking one of you. My God. It's like when I was in Saudi Arabia, I will do my best to, preserve their culture because it's only the right thing to do. I'm not going to be that dick to be like, oh, I'm new to this country. I'm going to fucking be a bull in a China shop and fuck shit up. No. It's called being a decent human being. I feel like we just got rid of that altogether.